Ahoy hoy, it's your boy Hawker back with another video, this time taking a look at how OG adapted on their T side of Dust 2 against Big. You hear a lot of pros talking about how specific matchups can change when you play each other all the time, because you start to pick up on each other's tendencies and you might start to switch up your game plans. A lot of the times though, it's hard to see that from the outside looking in, so I figured I'd take a look at some of these Dust 2 games where Big went up against OG, because back in August at DreamHack, OG lost 16-10, then in September at Pro League, they lost 16-14, and then most recently at New York, they finally adapted enough to get the win. I'll be focusing in on OG's T side specifically, since this is where their biggest improvement came. And one of the main takeaways from this first matchup was that Big were getting away with some lower tons and mid aggression way too often. Sometimes they do it at the start of the round, like here with Tabson in the first gun round, where he's fairly certain OG won't have an AWP watching mid because it's that first gun round, so he goes for the push and gets an easy kill and a lot of map control. While sometimes it would come a little bit later in the rounds, like this one where if you take a look at the minimap, Xantares is able to push all the way up through mid, and this helps Big with the map control so much. Once again, they're able to get a lot of information, they're able to just stack on short and take these fights towards the site, and mainly just buy time for Xantares, who's on this flank, waiting patiently, and once he gets this double kill, that's enough to effectively clinch the round. One of the more egregious examples was this push from Searson into lower tunnels with the AWP, where he somehow gets away with 2 kills, although again, it's important to point out that Big clearly have a game plan here, because Tabson is fighting from short to help Searson get back to safety and help them get another man advantage. And these mid or tunnels aggressions came in really important rounds where oftentimes OG would just get reset and the half kind of spiraled out of control for them. Furthermore, OG only won 3 T rounds in this entire game of Dust 2, and all of them came with faster pushes. There was this one where they get the quick pick at A long, and then are able to just get some kills onto the A site before Big can get any of those annoying flanks going. Then there was this one in round 25 where OG just kind of all group up towards short and basically muscle their way onto the A bomb site with a really quick push into A. And then the most obvious example was this round where they were able to rush into the B site, and again the fast pace seemed to catch Big off guard, but these rounds were very few and far between in this specific game. Although I must say, there was an earlier round where OG were able to get onto the B site with even trades while they only had Deegs in the round, due to Xantares being a bit overzealous on this peek into the tunnels. So this is definitely something that OG could think about going back to when we go into those future matchups, even if they didn't go on to win this specific round. 1 month later, OG played against Big again, and this time made it much closer, and some of those previous tendencies we were talking about came into play. Instantly at the start of this round, you can see on the minimap that Mantu's AWP is looking down mid, ready to spot for any potential CT aggression, and OG definitely showed more of a tendency to hit the B site in this game as well. In this round, they don't even smoke CT to begin with, and despite Searson getting this free kill early in the round, OG are still able to storm this B site, and the 2 B defenders don't get a single kill between them. This is a nice round to get early in the half. It's not quite as simple as Big's B defense just being bad though. I think it more comes down to Big fairly often running this setup where they have 3 players on the A site, 2 players on B who are very isolated from each other. In this round, Keto actually does a pretty fantastic job on the B site at getting 3 kills with the AWP, but even this leaves OG in a 2v3 that's fairly winnable. We all know how difficult that B site can be to retake, and OG are eventually able to clutch out another round towards the B side of the map. There was also much more of a focus from OG at stopping those lower tunnel pushes from being successful. Big try and get away with one of them very early in the second half with Xantares pushing into lower, but MVK is just sitting back the entire time, waiting for the fight to come to him, and even if this isn't the cleanest fight of MVK's career, he's able to get the kill. And from this point, OG know they can just group up and comfortably win the round. OG also made sure to watch for this mid aggression in gun rounds as well. In this one, Mantu just holds mid with the AWP for the early pick, and it's only thanks to a great shot from Tabson that Big are even able to bring this back into a 4v4. Even trades like this are never great for the CTs either. Big have to end up splitting 2 players on A, 2 players on B, which makes it really hard to hold against a full-fledged attack from OG. They end up launching themselves onto this A site, and once they get these trade kills, it's another fairly easy round for them, thanks to that early kill spotting from mid. Even though OG were more cognizant of this lower tunnels aggression, they weren't able to stop it in every round though. And I think this comes down to the fact that Big like to make these plays when they hear a lot of nades at A long, so they know that mid and B are less likely to have many players holding. As I was making this video even, the Mouse Sports analyst Innershine made an article where he pointed out that these lower tunnels aggressions often come when they lose long control. So teams are clearly aware of this, but it's still difficult to deny Big from doing this when you've got 4 players on long. It's also fairly fitting that with all of this lower tunnels aggression I've been talking about from Big, the way they close out this game is with one of those lower tunnels pushes. Keto gets this timing window just right after his AWPer gets the pick for him, and he's able to sneak into the lower tunnels with this tiny timing window to clinch the round and the game for Big. Overall though, there was obviously a lot more success from OG in this second matchup. They increased their total T rounds won from 3 in the first game to 8 this time round. And a lot of these rounds are rounds that I've already shown, but they're rounds where you see fast A aggression from OG. Oftentimes taking control towards A long early, where Big don't put too many players, and then they're able to push up short quite a lot, where Big have to try and fight for the site, but they never really love these fights. It always feels like Big are put into uncomfortable spots when you see these faster aggressions from OG. And so both of those earlier games, the 3 T rounds they got at DreamHack back in August, the 8 T rounds they got back at Pro League in September, led to this game recently at New York just a week ago, where they went 9-1 on their T side. This starts with the pistol round where we get some quick aggression, and obviously it helps when MBK is landing shots like these on the pistol. This is just individual brilliance. And they also convert the second round quite nicely by winning the long fights to begin with, and then once they spot the last 2 players on A and lose a couple of players, OG show nice composure just to go back to B, stay on top of the situation, and make sure it doesn't get out of hand. We really start to get to see those tendencies shine through in these gun rounds though. This time OG go for some instant A long aggression and take some belated trades, and once Big start to lose players at long, we know in the past they like to go for aggression elsewhere, and this time MBK is so much more prepared for it. Already looking at the mid doors, already on an angle that's really hard to deal with, he can just hold this line, get another easy kill, and help make sure that OG don't lose map control and help them win the trades to win this round so much more easily. Then heading into round 22, OG make similar moves towards long at the start of the round, but MBK's job here is actually just to stay alive while his teammates go up mid. MBK successfully stays alive for a while, which keeps Big's 3-man long stack looking towards this position, and this allows OG to begin to move through the mid doors more easily. Even though Xantares gets this kill from CT, now that they've spotted Xantares, who they know is normally a B player, OG realized that Big are very likely going to push through this smoke. It's very likely just Keto on the B site, so they play the patience game, they wait for Xantares to go aggressive, and their patience does indeed pay off. Xantares has to try and push through, he can't just leave his teammate solo B with the AWP, and that means once Keto is actually left solo B with the AWP, he's in trouble, OG can take the B site, and they can win the round. And OG even had some other answers to this lower tunnels aggression that we were talking about. In this round, OG fully commit all 5 to long at the start of the round, and again, as we've been talking about, when Big lose long, they like to go aggressive elsewhere. You can see on the minimap, 2 players start to push into the lower tunnels. OG, though, realize if they just go for a contact A play here, as long as there aren't too many players, they might not be ready for the aggression. OG can probably get onto the site pretty quickly, and then if Big are only playing from short and CT, it's going to be really hard for them to actually retake, especially since OG have nades to lock them out. So that's exactly what they do. They up the pace onto the A site, and it's another round where they counter what they know Big was going to do from their previous games they played. So yeah, lots of cool stuff here between these two teams. I think it's especially cool to see how OG really started to adapt to the aggression that they knew Big are likely to go for when they take long on their T side. And I think in general, this is an aspect of the game that goes somewhat underappreciated and under the radar in the community, because it's quite difficult to specifically focus on two teams on the same map across multiple games. And while there's definitely a chance that some of these plays I was talking about didn't go exactly as I'm planning them out in my head in this video, pros definitely talk about how playing against the same team over and over again kind of leads to a little metagame starting to play out between you, where you know each other's playbook so well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this slightly different video. I'll be back with a more standard player analysis one after this. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you next time.